6-part series, we will look back at the career of Sean and see the highs and lows of bike racing. Get ready, it's going to be one hell of a ride. This is Sean's story. So finally, the year I had been dreaming of for years was here. It was time to start racing. So the race bike I was riding was a beautiful Honda RS 125. But before I could go racing, I had to go and get my race license. So before you can go racing in the UK, you have to obtain an ACU race license. Now the ACU is the governing body of all British motorcycle racing. So me, my dad and my dad's mate all travelled to Donington Park for me to attempt to go and get my race licence. So to obtain my race licence, I had to take a multiple choice test covering the safety aspects and the organisation required to compete. I had to do a basic riding assessment on track to show that I can ride a bike safely, that I had basic control of a motorcycle, and I could demonstrate a reasonable speed, and we had to do a practice race start procedure. I won't go into too much detail about how the day went, but it went like this. Passed the multiple choice test, crashed 4.5 laps into my basic riding assessment, which meant I couldn't do the practice race start procedure until the end of the day, and I ended the day with all aspects of the course passed. So having got my race licence, we managed to secure a couple of tests at Upton Park before the first round. So the test went okay. It's still flagged, there were still areas that were being flagged up as needed to be improved, but I also learned a couple of key skills that the 125 is known for really. Need to be late on the brakes on the 125 because they don't have much power on the straights. And slipstreaming. The slipstream is so key on a little bike because it doesn't have a lot of power. So my first race event was at Anglesey with the Wirral 100 Club in the middle of March. We had not bad weather actually. That weekend it was, I don't think we had any, no we didn't have any rain. We had dry weather all weekend, which was fantastic. And before the season started, riders please don't laugh when I say this. I thought a top 6 would have been possible. And my first round, really? Anyway, I was a mile off, understandably. I think I was 20th in qualifying, and in the 2 races I finished 3rd to last in the first race and 2nd to last in the second one. But it was the wake-up call I needed to make me improve. So for me the weekend was quite good. I was a little bit disappointed with the results and the times, but it was one of them. It was my first weekend. I was on 10 talks the whole weekend because it was, first race weekend, nerve-wracking. I set a good lap time for my first event, 125.1, which on the coastal circuit, which doesn't sound very impressive, but it was my first weekend. Now I couldn't work out how to get the little blighter off the line. They're quite tricky, the 125s to get off the line, and it took me until August really to get a half decent start. So yeah, it took me a while, but as you'll see later, we got there eventually. Well, my first nearly success came at round 3 of our season at Mallory Park with the fantastic Emerald Club. So I went to Mallory with a bit of an open mind. I'd watched a few onboards and I didn't really expect it to go quite as well as it did. So I was really thrown at the deep end really. We were chucked straight into a qualifying session which was about 10-12 minutes long. And within that time I'd managed to put myself second on the grid and only 0.8 off pole, which don't sound brilliant, 0.8 of a second off pole, but the man that was on pole, had been there a couple of times, so he knew his way around, and fair play to him, he's a quick rider. So when I found out I was second on the grid, I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely ecstatic. The 3rd ever event, that wasn't too bad, and it definitely ignited the fire in me to go and try and get a podium. I knew the pace was there clearly from qualifying, so anyway, the first race came along, and I think the nerves got the better of me. My start was an absolute shocker. I dropped to 9th, from 2nd on the grid. Disaster. Fortunately though, I now had podium pace, so I wasn't panicking too much. So by the end of the first lap I was up to 5th, which was pretty good. So on lap 3 I managed to catch the battle for 3rd place, and going into turn 2 at Wheelers I managed to outbrake both riders and move myself up to 3rd place. So I was closing the gap to the 2nd place rider, who some of you will know actually, Elliot Pinson. He's now riding in the Ducati Tri-Options Cup this season, if it gets underway, and he was, and is, the reigning British Junior Supersport champion in words right. So yeah, good luck this year, Elliot. And so yeah, I was closing the gap to him and was not doing too bad. And then I went to the bus stop chicane, carried a little bit too much speed and hit the curb on the exit. The bus stop chicane, so it goes left, right, and then a left. And the curb on the last left is quite a fierce one, so I hit it and jumped on the RS 125. Got air, I was buzzing. So yeah, on the next lap, Elliot made a bit of a mistake going into Edwina's, and which is turn 2 by the way. So that meant he lost drive going down the next corner, and I managed to get quite a good run through there, and going through Lake Essex, closing, got a little bit of a slipstream and went round the outside and managed to get past him just before the hairpin. So then I made a mistake going through the S's, and yeah, that meant I was overtaken going into the hairpin by a very talented rider, Kim Rose, on another Honda RS 125. Kim's a fantastic rider, a lovely person off the bike. And yeah, on the exit I lost another place because I went a little bit too wide, and Kim had parked the bike really well actually, and I was carrying a little bit more speed to the hairpin, but she held me up slightly, and then Elliot come flying past going into the bus stop, which fair play to him, it was a good move that. And yeah, and then a lap or so later I managed to get back past Elliot and on the pitch straight, because my bike was absolutely rapid that thing, unbelievably quick. By this time Kim had left us and she looked like she was going to go on to a safe second place. Then, on the last lap, as you can see, I was absolutely gutted. I'd just thrown away my first ever podium with half a lap to go. It was a bitter pill to swallow really, but hey, unfortunately that's racing. So I got my first taste of success at the August round of the Emperor Championship. Again, qualified second on the grid, but race 1 was very odd. Now if you're in that race, I'm sure you'll know what I'm about to talk about and show you. So when we got to the grid, there were some very dark clouds looming over the first corner, on the exit of the first corner. They looked quite threatening, so I was a bit worried because all those GP125 riders, and there was some up 3 in that race as well, were all on slick tyres, which was pretty scary. There was Formula 125s in that race and some 50cc's as well, but they had treaded tyres, so they were a little bit better off. So anyway, the race got underway. I didn't make a bad start. I dropped to 5th, but got 4th going into the first corner, so I was quite happy with that. Now going into the first corner, there was a few spots of rain on my visor and my screen, which did get me more worried. Then, on lap 2, the rain came, but only at turn 1. So the top 2 had slowed right down, and I fortunately kept it upright and pushed my way through to second place, which was bizarre. Now speaking to the rider who was leaving at the time, Gavin Mills, he said he'd slow down because he thought there was going to be a red flag in that situation, but fortunately for us there wasn't, so we kept going. And yeah, a few laps later, I'll just add, Gavin come flying around the outside of me when I was lapping a slower rider. I was in the middle of the track. Gavin come flying around the outside, nearly on the grass, terrified the hell out of me. But yeah, Gav's a quick rider on a 125, as he proved. In just a couple of minutes, the first corner had gone from bone dry to a nice shiny wet surface. So we were all quite lucky really to stay on, but there was no standing water, which helped massively. On that 5 however, I could see spray coming from one of the bikes in front, which yeah, definitely made me a bit tense, but I kept going, and at this point I was in 5th and I was only about 3/4 of a second to a second behind the leaders, so it wasn't too far away, but I could see traffic up ahead, so I thought I could gain some time there, and sure enough I did. So at this point Gavin had cleared off and went on to take the win, and so yeah, I was in a nice little group battling for second. So I knew if I wanted my first podium, I was going to have to be clever with the back markers and pass them in places where I could get past but hold everybody up, the riders behind up, and yeah, that didn't work, but you know, it's nice to think these things. On lap 6, the whole circuit was covered in glorious sunshine and the first corner was starting to dry. So going into Edwina's on that 6th lap, Kim had gone in slightly too hot. She was in 3rd at the time, and yeah, she went in a little bit too hot, which allowed me to nip underneath and take that 3rd place, which was good. And we were closing the gap to second pretty rapidly actually, so that was good. So going on to lap 7 on the pit straight, I managed to slipstream the rider in front and take second place, which I was buzzing about, and that was where I stayed for the rest of the race. But I did have constant pressure from Kim behind. Kim was riding unbelievable, and yeah, it really put me under pressure, but unfortunately I didn't crack. Yeah, I was only 0.4 off Gavin Mills' fastest lap, which I was happy with that, and I was only 5.8 seconds away from him, which for me was quite an achievement because Gavin's pretty quick. As you can see in the ref capture, I was very thrilled with my achievements, and I'm not going to lie to you, there was a few tears involved on the cooling down lap, knowing that I'd actually achieved my first podium, and my dad and one of my good mates, Tony, I'd done them too proud. It was just really nice, and knowing all their hard work had finally been rewarded was just lovely. As I was coming back down pit lane and coming into the garage, I could see my dad and Tony, and their faces were just beaming, which was incredible and really made me feel quite proud inside, and definitely put a smile on my face, and it made it all come true. Seeing, the two closest people to me absolutely buzzing with my achievements was nice and really humbling for me. Genuinely, I don't think I've ever felt as happy and as proud of myself as I did on that day. So the season ended with another couple of podiums at Aintree in the 125 class, which was really good for me considering the bike had a bit of a slipping clutch, so yeah, it wasn't good. And yeah, we had some good finishes to round out the season and went into the winter break feeling good. And yeah, well, I made my dad and Tony a promise that I was going to get them third place in the championship in 2017. But could I do it? Next time on Sean's Story. I knew going into the session that the conditions suited me and I should be up there on the grid. I was not going to give this up without a fight. I just told myself I am not losing this now.